Hey everyone, it's Riley. Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to get really practical with you guys and talk about how to actually set up your bullet journal, how to start on that very first page of your journal. So if bullet journaling is something that interests you, I would love to have you join me here on my channel just by hitting that subscribe button. I am posting new videos every week about bullet journaling, and so I would love to have you join us for the journey. Now, I made a video just a while ago about how to bullet journal, and in that video, we didn't look at like specific spreads to include in the start of your bullet journal. It was just kind of talking about like, why should I bullet journal? What do I need to have in order to bullet journal? And those kinds of like bigger questions. So if you're at that stage and you're just wondering where to even start, I would definitely recommend checking out that video as well. I'll link that above. But for this video, I want to get really practical and talk about what kinds of different spreads you can include at the very start of your journal. So the first thing that I think is really awesome to put at the start of your journal is just your name. Somewhere that you can put your full name, maybe your email address or phone number or something, so that in case anything were to happen to your journal, people can contact you and get it back to you. Now, I should mention that all of the things that I'm going to list are completely optional. You can include them, but you don't need to include them in the start of your journal. I include some of them, but honestly, I have ditched a lot of these things just because I've tried them, I know what works, and I've kind of figured out my own system for starting a journal. So if you want to just experiment and try all of them, go for it. If you just want to pick like one or two, that's fine too. So the next spread that you may want to include at the beginning of your bullet journal is a key. Now, the original creator of the bullet journal, Ryder Carroll, has a very specific key where you use a dot for task, different arrows for migrating those tasks, canceling those tasks, and things like that. So if you want to know more about his specific key, you can check it out at bulletjournal.com. There's a whole bunch of information just about Ryder Carroll himself and his bullet journaling system. However, personally, I use a different key. I use a box for events, and then I can fill it in or put a little X through it according to whether I complete it, whether I move it to a different day, or something like that. And so I've kind of found my own key, and you can do the same. If you have a specific key that works for you, go for it. If you want to follow Ryder Carroll's, you can find that on bulletjournal.com. Now, another thing that you may want to include at the beginning of your journal, but again, you do not have to, is an index. Now, personally, I never include an index because I don't really feel like numbering my pages. I usually know where the pages that I need are, and if I for some reason think that I won't know, I'll put like some washi tape or a little tag on the corner of the page or something like that to make it stand out to me. So if you do choose to use an index, it's pretty basic, just like the index for any book. You'll want to put page numbers on the bottom corners of your pages if you don't have a journal that comes with that. Now, one trick that I have found is that it works really well to just number only the even pages so that wherever you're at in your journal, you still have that reference. You can still figure out, okay, this is page 2, that must be page 1, whatever. But you don't need to number every single page. So it does save you half the work. So you don't need to put every page number in your index. Instead, as you fill your journal, choose the important pages and add those to your index so that you know where to find them. Another spread that you may choose to include at the start of your journal is a year at a glance spread. So this is a good place just to have like a little mini calendar of each of the upcoming months, just so that you have a visual for what day that month starts on. You can schedule certain things on here as well if you would like to, but it's just a nice place to kind of see the whole year in one shot. Now, a spread that is really similar to the year at a glance, but a little bit different, is the future log. So personally, I don't use a year at a glance spread, but I do use a future log. And a future log does one thing really similar. It kind of gives you a place to just lay out the calendar months for every single year. So it still gives you that same visual that you have if you choose to do a year at a glance setup. But the future log also leaves you space to write down things like goals or big events or things like that. And so instead of squashing all 12 months onto one page like I would with the year at a glance, I spread them out over 4 pages when I make my future log so that I have space to write down like birthdays, key events, maybe key deadlines if I know way in advance I'm going to have a deadline. And then every time I set up a new month, I can go back to my future log and see the things that I know I need to include in that month's setup. Now, there are lots of spreads that you could include when you're setting up a brand new journal, and honestly, all of these spreads work whether you're starting your journal at the beginning of the year or in the middle of a year. It's totally fine. But one spread that I do like to use, because I try to start a new journal at the beginning of every year, is a sort of reflections and goals page, or like a looking backward and looking forward sort of thing. So I'll always make a little section looking back on the year before. I'll write down some key highlights, things that I did, goals I accomplished, things like that. And then on the page beside it, I'll have a sort of looking ahead spread. And that will be where I set sort of like goals for myself, or just things that I want to do in the new year. So maybe things I want to keep doing, things I want to stop doing, things I want to add to what I'm already doing. I can include all of those things on this little looking ahead page. Now there are tons of different spreads that you can use at the beginning of your bullet journal. I've seen people put like a cleaning tracker spread here, or a mass expense tracker, or something like that, or a year in pixels. You can do all of those things. Today I just wanted to lay out some of the common things. So if you're wondering what should I include, I just got a new journal and I want to set it up. These are what I think would be the most common spreads to include in your startup. But if you want to experiment, you want to try a year in pixels, or you want to make a spread about like when to start a new toothbrush, when to start new contacts. I saw that on someone's channel and I actually thought it was brilliant. So you can include any of those things as you start up your new journal as well. Now, if you want to see me set up my new journal, I will be doing that in January of 2021. I am so excited. I already got my new journal in the mail, and it takes like every ounce of me to hold myself back from just getting into that journal and starting it, because it's so beautiful. But that's something that I'm really looking forward to. If you're looking forward to it as well, please do subscribe so that you can stay tuned for when I set up my bullet journal, and maybe that will help you get even more of a visual for what you want to do when you set up yours. So thanks for watching, you guys. If this video helped you out, please leave it a like and even a comment below. If you have a question or anything like that, I would love to hear from you guys. See you in the next video.